Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Jupiter's CROCK. My name is Matthew. Joining me tonight, he survived the rain, he survived the hail of bullets, he survived another day down there in Memphis, Tennessee, is Ronan.
I ain't no soft-ass bitch. I can take bullets all day. You know what I'm saying?
And Plodicus.
I mean, as a native of Memphis, I can confirm you have to take bullets all day to survive down there.
So, we are back with another episode, folks. The last episode, we ended with Delicate Things, where Spartacus's wife, Sura, died at the machinations of Batiatus. And now we get into episode 7, which I believe is called Great and Unfortunate Things. So, we are coming off a high. Now, I don't want to spoil what I thought about this episode too early, but earlier on, we sort of discussed, is there going to be another sort of bad episode of Spartacus from this point, from episode, 4 on? And we weren't sure. And I have thoughts about this episode in particular, but we'll get there. I'm going to turn it over to Plodicus. Take it away.
Alright, so this episode has several flashbacks to Spartacus's time with Sura, and that is how this episode opens. They're having sex for the first time, and Spartacus asks Sura's name, and she says, "I'm Sura," and Spartacus goes to introduce himself, and he says, "My name is," and Sura cuts him off. Again, we don't know Spartacus's actual name. She cuts him off. She says, I know all about you. All of the women in the village know to avoid you. And so he says, well, then why did you come sleep with me then?
Because
and
that
she
dick
says,
game is crazy good, apparently.
Apparently. But she says, because of the gods. The gods told me that I am supposed to be with you. And Spartacus says, what else did the gods tell you? And she says, that you'll never love another woman after me. Then we immediately cut to her funeral, and there's a lot going on at this funeral. Batiatus is looking very proud of himself, and Xena is looking just super bitch face, she's like, yeah, you fucking deserve this, Spartacus. And Naeus is looking very creepily at the red RPM Ranger.
Yeah, he's got the eyes for him.
Yeah, he's got some badness going on.
We all know what's going to happen there.
Yep. We see Batiatus paying. I don't know this guy's name. I don't know if he has a name, but Batiatus is paying off the carriage driver that delivered Sura's body, and Batiatus, or he asked Batiatus, why did you have me hunt for this woman for a year? Because this episode establishes it's basically been a year since episode 1 or thereabouts. But he asked, why did you have me hunt for this woman for a year just to kill her? And Batiatus' response is basically, I have my reasons, and I don't think he tells this guy this, but he tells Xena that if I just told Spartacus his wife has died, he would never believe it. He needed to see her corpse in order to accept it. He has a conversation with Xena, and Xena once again says, I want you to keep me in the loop on these things, and Batiatus says, I won't have your hands be bloody. But Xena tells him they're bloody just by virtue of being your wife.
Yeah, quick thing there. I know in the previous episode we had sort of discussed, was it Batiatus' plan the entire time to do this? And I feel like just the way that scene was kind of played with that carriage driver saying why did you do all this? It kind of seemed like that wasn't his initial plan, and that maybe I guess it just came across to me maybe this was a more recent development that he decided to do it.
That's what I was trying to get at. It's on the side of it was always the plan. It could be that. Or at least it was always Batiatus' plan. It could be the fact that, he trusted his wife. It could also be the fact that how the hell did Batiatus get a message out to this guy in, the middle of the nowhere on such short notice saying, hey, kill this girl? On the sides of it was not the plan, I don't know, it's weird. I feel like there's evidence, both ways, and this one kind of muddies the waters.
The difficult thing that makes it hard to really pare it down, because you mentioned how is he going to get him a message out in the middle of nowhere? you can send messages and letters. The problem is to really answer that question is we don't know what point he decided to kill her, and we don't know how long it would have taken said message to get to the guy. Like, he might have made that decision to kill her, pretty early on, once he realized like he could, like, as Spartacus needed to be, he would have to do this in order to keep him in check.
Yeah, he seems. I still believe that Batiatus sounded very sincere. It could be that he was a great liar. Like, he sounded sincere when he's telling Xena in the previous episode that no, like, Spartacus's like gratitude will keep him working for me. So that's a point in favor of that. It wasn't the plan, but it just logistically, I don't know that how Batiatus could, for a year, have the hunt going on with no plans to kill her, and then somehow pull the trigger. I mean, we're probably thinking about this too hard.
Because remember, like, when this first started, Spartacus was not Spartacus. So if he's been trying to find her for basically an entire year, he hasn't been like the champion of Capua for a year. It took him a while to get to that point. So logically, in my mind, I would think that maybe initially he was like, yeah, I'll find your wife, so you'll fight for me. But early on in the series, like, he doesn't even necessarily believe that Spartacus is going to be some great, amazing, gladiator. And so I think the sheer fact that, he's the bringer of the reins, and now Batiatus realizes the amount of wealth that he's going to get, but he's got to keep Spartacus there. I think it's a recent turn of events that makes him decide I gotta kill her. That's just how I read it after seeing this episode.
Yeah, that was my thought.
That makes
too.
sense. It's just a matter of like how recent, because at the beginning of the previous episode, Sura was 2 days away.
Yeah.
Did Batiatus make the call then, or was it even before that? Because Sura is like still alive barely when she gets to the Ludus.
I think he made the call right after the rains came. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, but finding out that she was like, because I forgot that detail, that like, your wife is 2 days away. That's enough time to have sent a message. He could have decided, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to kill. I probably need to kill her in order to keep him in check. And then once she got close enough, had like Asher or somebody go out and give a message to, actually I need you to kill her on the way up here. So like, that can, with knowing that like she's 2 days away, that can make it work.
I don't know. I think we're probably thinking about it too hard, but I do think it's an interesting question. Like, was Batiatus ever going to uphold his end of the deal? I honestly have no clue. Anyways, Batiatus has paid off the killer and squared things with Xena. He and Xena are back on the same page again, though who knows if he's going to actually keep her in the loop next time. And from here on, like, everybody has a little subplot. Like, Alithia is back and being buddy-buddy with Xena. Crixus has woken up in the basement, and he believes he's woken up to a world of shit because Spartacus is now the champion of Capua.
Join the party, pal.
Red RPM Ranger asks Naeus, who becomes Detective Naeus in this episode, Detective Doctore. He says, hey...
You guys are both out of this hand. I don't want to cut you off, but you're both out of this hand, right?
Yes,
I'm out of it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to... like, you both are?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to slow burn this motherfucker with a 7-2 offsuit.
Okay, can't wait.
Okay. Can't wait. Yeah.
Continue on.
Lose all that money. No, this guy's not going to let you slow burn him. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
put your
well,
dick on the table, Ronan. I don't think there's any way for you to win.
It is tradition.
Oh, Jesus Christ! See, that's what I thought you had. When you were like hyping this up, I was thinking, guys, I got the pocket aces. I'm going to slow roll this guy. But no, he went with the wrong.
See, Ronan,
Well
you need to put your dick out there right away with the 7-2
it's
to scare him
to go
off.
all in immediately.
Yeah, you got to scare him off immediately.
Ronan,
if you got a 7-2.
not engrossed in the culture of Outpost Unknown Poker Night, not understanding how this works. Anyways, Detective Naeus is on the case because Petros, Red RPM Ranger, goes to Doctore and says, hey, what should I do with the birds? Because Barca left them here when he left me. And then Oenomaus goes down to meet with Crixus, and Crixus didn't know that Barca has bought his freedom, air quotes. And so Crixus says, yeah, it's hard to imagine Barca, the fucking beast of Carthage, and Petros out there like picking fruits and vegetables. And then it's revealed that Petros, Red RPM Ranger, was left behind, and Crixus says, no, Barca would chop his dick off before he left Petros behind.
He would suitor part with his own cock.
Crixus knows exactly. I mean, that's his best friend, right? Crixus is like, absolutely, there's something going on here.
Yeah. And so, Naevia tells him that, because Naevia was there, Naevia saw everything, and Xena slaps her across the face and tells her, like, this is the story that you are going to uphold. But she says that, Barca didn't want to leave him behind, but the price was just too high for both of their freedom. And Oenomaus immediately doesn't believe this, but he confronts her later and continues to ask questions. And Naevia, without actually telling him what happened, says, hey, you asking these questions are putting me in danger. I need you to stop it. You son of a bitch. Matt, you suck. Come on, 6. Boo. Anyways, Naevia tells Oenomaus, like, hey, you stop asking these questions because you're putting me in danger, and Oenomaus kind of concedes. But she mentions that Asher was there. And so later on, Oenomaus goes to Asher and asks him about Barca's freedom. And Asher says, oh yeah, it was just me and Barca and Batiatus. And, it was a tearful farewell as Barca left.
Tears in my eyes.
Tears in my eyes.
Even if he had said Naevia was there, like the whole tears in my eye should have been a huge red flag to Oenomaus that he's lying.
Here's my problem, though. This is the point in this episode that I hate. I hate the Vero thing, which we'll talk about, but I also hate this. I feel like this episode, really, the writing of it did a disservice to how these characters have been established, because literally, Naevia tells Oenomaus, look, you're asking questions about me, and you're going to put my life in danger. Like, I'm going to get killed, basically, if you keep asking these questions. And then fucking Oenomaus tells Asher, Naevia told me this. And I'm like, Oenomaus, what are you doing, dude? Like, he just gives her up, basically, when she just told him, you're putting me in danger by asking these questions, and he name drops her. Did not like it. Did not like the writing of this.
In fairness, Oenomaus, he's not a stupid man, but he's also a very straightforward. He is not a sneaky man at all. So the idea of being like sneaky, or let me ask this in a way that's not going to put this up. Like, that's not like, he's kind of like Crixus in the fact that he's a straightforward kind of person.
I get that, but he looked very concerned when Naevia went up to him like, you keep asking these questions and you're going to put me in danger. He immediately backed down and stopped. And then immediately he tells Asher, of all people, oh no, Naevia told me this. Now Asher knows that Naevia is saying stuff and putting her in danger. So to me, the way that this was written, it painted Oenomaus either at worst, it made him look in a really bad light because he just basically gave her up to this creep Asher, and he knows Asher's a creep. He knows it. At worst, it makes his character look incredibly stupid because we just literally saw this scene right before. But again, that's a major gripe I have with this episode.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm on board with Ronan. Like, I don't know that Oenomaus has the ability to lie or be sneaky, so
he doesn't have to lie. He just doesn't need a name dropper. Well, he never had to say Naevia. He never needed to say her name for that. As soon as Asher said, oh, blah, 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 it was just her and I, he could have just looked at it, because he's in the foreground of the shot. He could have just squinted his eyes and walked past, and everyone would have known, okay, he's piecing it together. He didn't need to go back to Asher and be like, well, Naevia said X, Y, and Z. Nah, I don't buy it. Bad writing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, your gripe's not totally. It's not completely it's not unwarranted. If anything, I would say the main thing that kind of stands out to me with the bad writing is the idea that both Batiatus and Asher, who are both extremely good at being underhand, sneaky assholes, Never thought. Okay, everyone needs to have one line that we all say, and then get Navy in and be like, or at the very least, like come up with. They leave her out, but come up with an explanation that explains why she might be there.
I mean, they should have just killed Navia.
Well,
they should have just killed the witness.
Well, that was the line. They basically did. They said, "Hey, Barca left with his freedom." That's what we're all gonna say, and that's what Navia initially said, right? And that's what Asher says. But the problem is, like when Naeus is talking to Navia, she lets slip a little detail, right? That allows him to be suspicious, and it doesn't help that Crixus is sitting there like, bullshit, this is all bullshit. I'm here dying, man, this is bullshit. Barca never would have done that kind of thing. So I don't know, I feel like this is the weakest written episode, I think, even if episodes 1 and 2 that we weren't hot on, I think the writing, at least in those, is better than in this episode.
I can't go that far.
This is kind of like very much like a world building episode as opposed to the previous episodes that we've seen. So I was fine with it, but I understand the criticisms. Anyways, Detective Naeus tells Asher, if I find out something fucky is going on with Barca's freedom, like, I'm coming for you. And so what else happens? We see Naeus doing some terrible things to Red RPM Ranger. We also see Vero in probably the worst fucking thing we've seen Vero do. Who has otherwise been this incredibly good-natured, kind man. He gets a visit from his wife and child, and his wife is pregnant, and it's definitely not Vero's, because Vero has been living in the Ludus for a year at this point.
Yeah.
And so Aurelia, his wife, tells him that I was assaulted and now I'm pregnant with this man's child, and Vero just shits all over her and tells her basically, like, you should have fought him off because I'm in here fighting for you. And Aurelia fucking loses it on him, and rightly so. She's like, yeah, you gambled away all of our money, and then rather than fleeing the country, you chose to sell yourself into slavery and abandon me and your child. And Vero says, well, it wouldn't have been honorable to leave. And she responds with, is it honorable to abandon your family? Because that's what you fucking did. And the money you gave us, the money you're giving us for your gladiator winnings is not nearly enough to support us. But Vero's not having it. Vero just like walks away. Vero, the kindest, best character in the series so far, like basically slut shames his SA victim wife, and into just a terrible sequence. I mean, it's fucking ancient Rome. I don't know how progressive they were, but Vero is a massive, massive dick in this episode.
So does that
change? In bird culture, this is known as a dick move.
Like, I know Vero's the character, like, you really love that character. Does this alter how you see him? Does his ultimate demise, does it feel a little no,
I don't think his demise is warranted, because I think that he maybe tries to turn it around at the end, but he does something real shitty in this episode. He's still my favorite, but this is not his best look. He pulls an epic dick move, as Ronan would say, from bird culture. It's rough. So that's Vero's subplot, and then he goes and has a one-on-one with Spartacus, who in Spartacus doesn't want to do the next fight. And we'll talk about that fight in a little bit here. I'm trying to set up all the side characters at the moment. But Spartacus is like, I'm not going to do what Batiatus says, and Vero says, are you fucking shitting me? Like, you are a slave. You will fucking do it. But they kind of butt heads a little bit. And the whole time, Vero is like, I fucking this game of dice that's going on in the Ludus. So he goes and basically loses all of his gladiator money to gambling debts, which is the thing that made him be a gladiator in the first place. So Vero, very bad look for Vero in this episode. Naeus continues to assault the Red RPM Ranger to the point where the Red RPM Ranger hangs himself. So Petros is dead. Spartacus immediately knows that Naeus did this, and he goes out to fight Naeus, and they begin battling, and Doctore stops them. And when asked, what the hell is going on, Spartacus says, Petros is dead because of Naeus, and Naeus says, oh, I'm going to miss him. And by miss him, I mean I'm going to miss assaulting him. And Spartacus loses his shit and just fucking pitches him off the cliff. So Naeus is dead. And I think everybody's... Yeah, I think everybody's happy about the death of Naeus because what a piece of shit. Batiatus, however, is not happy. And so this is just another thing. The plot for Spartacus in this episode is... Jesus Christ, am I going all in? Yeah, I'll go all in. I don't care. It's just money. Spartacus... there's a guy named Mercado, I think, and Mercado is having his games to honor his grandfather, which is apparently this badass Roman warrior. And so Mercado had planned on having Crixus pretend. This is a weird fight. Basically, everybody's cosplaying as people. So, Batiatus wants Spartacus to cosplay as this Roman general grandpa of Mercado, and meanwhile, 6 criminals that are condemned to death are going to pretend to be Thracians, and so Spartacus is the main guy, and so this job falls to Spartacus, and so Spartacus, who hates Romans, is going to have to pretend to be Roman and then kill people who are pretending to be Thracian, which is what Spartacus is. And so Spartacus just tells Batiatus, no, I'm not doing it, and Batiatus gives him some time to think about it, but Batiatus is adamant, this is going to fucking happen or else. And so they have not yet reached a conclusion to this argument yet when Spartacus kills Naeus. And so Batiatus fucking punches Spartacus in the face. Though?
I thought Naeus was supposed to be part of it because Batiatus tells him, hey, look, I just told this guy I had the greatest whatever, and now I have nothing. So I didn't know if he was supposed to be in it or not.
I wasn't clear on the details of the fight because later on Spartacus requests to fight alone, and I'm watching the episode and I'm like, I thought that was always the plan. I never knew you were meant to have help.
No, they do mention that it was going to one gladiator was going to play the role of his grandfather, and there were going to be others 3 or 4 who were going to be dressed as Romans because they were going to reenact the battle, quote unquote.
That's right, Ronan, because Batiatus doesn't want one person against a bunch of, he doesn't want to lose his gladiators. He doesn't want anybody to die.
We'll come back to that fight because right now Batiatus is fucking pissed at Spartacus because Batiatus says, earlier this morning I had the best net and spear guy in all of Capua, and now I have nothing. And Spartacus says, well, he killed Red RPM Ranger, and Batiatus doesn't care. And Spartacus tries to say he was a man, he had value, and Batiatus says he may be half a coin. Spartacus, this shows the line between Spartacus and Batiatus. Spartacus seems to think that everyone just intrinsically has some sort of value as a human being, and Batiatus is basically only thinking about how much he can sell people for as their value, and so he is not buying the fact that that Petros was worth more than Naeus. Anyway, Batiatus can't kill Spartacus, even though he really wants to at this point, and so he sends Spartacus to the Medicus, and so Spartacus has a chat with Crixus, and Crixus also shits on Spartacus for killing Naeus. Spartacus says, Naeus harmed Petros, Petros is dead, therefore Naeus is dead. And Crixus tells him, Naeus was your brother. When you took the oath, he became your brother, and the fact that you have killed another gladiator in this ludus, regardless of reason, it brings shame to you, and it brings shame to me because I fought alongside you against Theocles.
Now, here's another issue I had with this. So I love this speech, but in the scene before this, when it's Crixus and Naevia, and she's like, oh, you wake, whatever, Crixus is like, no one's even come to see me to say hello. That's when they have the whole Barca conversation, right? Like, where's Barca?
True, yeah.
And Crixus then goes on a speech about, oh, brotherhood. I'm like, dude, you literally are just moping because not a single one of your quote-unquote brothers has even come to say, hey, how are you doing? We're looking forward to getting you back, or anything like that. So again,
he would also love nothing more than to kill his brother Spartacus. So there's some bullshit going on here at this.
It's a little
mindset.
weird. Yeah, the way that they sort of wrote this doesn't quite play out. But I do agree that like if they had axed the line where Crixus is like, no one even came to see me. I've been sitting here for however many months recuperating, and not a single person has come in to say, hey, how are you doing? If they would have nixed that, or at least shown a few gladiators, even Vero or somebody being like, hey, Crixus, how's it going? Then it would have made sense. That whole brotherhood line would have made a lot more sense to me.
See, I think the way you make sense of it is that Crixus only had one friend, and that was Barca. And even though Crixus has this romanticized idea of what it is to be a gladiator, everyone fucking hates him.
Yeah,
well, maybe.
Barca and Crixus were both were more than likely the biggest pricks in the Ludus. So, I imagine
was
he
a
probably.
bully.
Yeah, Crixus probably did think, oh yes, everyone looks up to me. I am the champion. And they both like, well, yeah, you were just the champion. They kind of had to.
See,
I don't know. He's not.
I don't know, because as we play this show out even further, even into this season, there's a lot of gladiators that roll with Crixus rather than roll with Spartacus. So Crixus, I mean, later on, they sort of established that Crixus has a lot of sway with the gladiators in the Ludus, especially when he in season
I take
3
that to mean the people that sided with Crixus didn't do it because they liked Crixus. They just thought Spartacus's plan would fail.
Yeah, maybe. Hard to say. I just think it's weird writing. Regardless, it's
That's
weird
fair.
writing.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. So I think we've set up all of the side things going on. Let's talk about the main fight. Spartacus is meant to play a Roman, which he absolutely refuses to do, and he's supposed to kill people that are pretending to be Thracians, which Spartacus, in his heart, he still believes he is Thracian. So, how does this play out? Spartacus, it's like the morning of the fight, and Batiatus is like, I need your decision. Like, you're going to do this or you are going to die. And so Spartacus...
You forgot to mention that Spartacus has a training fight with Naeus, where Naeus is like, I fucking knew you were going to try to escape, motherfucker.
I'm sorry. Plauticus can only remember so much.
That's an important plot line right there.
Shame this man.
We'd have gotten there. We'd have gotten there eventually. But you're right. Doctore, it's I guess the day after his wife is dead, or the day after Sura's funeral, and Doctore says, morning training begins. Spartacus, you're pairing with me. And Doctore says to him, like, I know what you fucking tried to do. And Spartacus tells him, hey, I could have just killed you, but I decided that with two big fistfuls instead of the one fistful of sleepy powder that I gave you. But it's like, I chose to, spare you. And they fight it out. And Naeus tells him the only reason you're still alive is because I owe you for killing Theocles. You paid this whatever blood debt for me. But even as the champion of Capua, if it gets out that you tried to do this, like, you would be crucified. And so Naeus, Detective Naeus knows what's happening.
Well, he also says something very important as well. At the very end of that fight, when they're done, Naeus tells Spartacus, he's like, next time you try to do this, you better kill me. And that sets up, it's like, oh shit, how is Spartacus going to get this guy on his side? Because it sets up Naeus, he's 100% with the Ludus, right? He's with Batiatus. There's no way Spartacus is going to sway him that we can see at this point in time. And so it's like, okay, that's a major hurdle for Spartacus to try to get past.
Yep. So anyways, the day of the final fight, Spartacus Batiatus comes to him and says, like, hey, it's now or never. Like, you are going to do this fight, or you're useless to me if you're refusing to fight, and if you're useless to me, then you're fucking dead. And Spartacus pulls out the dagger that he had planned to use during his escape, and he hands it to Batiatus, and Batiatus is like, you want to fucking explain this? And Spartacus tells Batiatus that, like, this is a sign. Like, my wife believed in the gods. Spartacus has just had another flashback to Sura, and the conversation was, I think, like, their last moments before Glaber captured them. And so Sura is telling Spartacus that I believe in the gods, because if the gods aren't out there, then all of this is just random violence and bloodshed for no reason. Like, my belief in the gods, like, helps me make sense of this. It helps me believe that everything is happening for a reason, and that this is according to some sort of plan. And so Spartacus tells Batiatus that I never believed in the gods, but I believe in my wife. I am going to go forward with being a gladiator, because that's basically the only option I have, and I believe that the gods made all these things happen for a reason. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna be your gladiator now. And so Batiatus says, that brings joy to my heart, so much joy that I'm not gonna ask questions about why you have the magistrate's son's dagger. But you know that Batiatus knows Spartacus was gonna pull some shit, but he doesn't call Spartacus out on it.
He's
but Batiatus knows.
Spartacus is his cash cow. If he loses Spartacus, Crixus is out of commission. He's got nobody in that ludus.
Yep.
He kind of has to put up with it for right now. He's got no choice.
He has to put up with it, but I think Spartacus is pushing him to the limit in this episode, as shown by the fact that Spartacus says, all right, Batiatus, I'm going to be your gladiator. I'm going to do what you want with one condition. And Batiatus is like, the look on his face is like, are you fucking
What's he say?
shitting
Kiss
me?
cheek and then you tickle my ass or something?
Yeah,
with your
he's like,
finger
you
or something?
kiss my cheek just to finger my ass? It's Spartacus. Batiatus is like holding the dagger to Spartacus's neck, just like there's like an angel on one shoulder telling him to just fucking kill Spartacus, and there's like a little devil on the other shoulder, probably also agreeing that he should just kill Spartacus, but he doesn't do it.
Okay. So put both of you in Batiatus's position right now. Like cosplay as Batiatus, you're confronted with Spartacus.
If I'm cosplaying as Batiatus,
do
I'm
I get
immediately
Lucy
going
Lawless?
and fighting Xena.
Exactly, yes. Do I
Okay.
get to cosplay with Lucy Lawless?
Yes,
too?
you do. What
Excellent.
do you do? Do you kill Spartacus right there, or do you say, God dang it, he's got me by the balls here, I gotta roll with this?
I mean, I think you have to at least humor Spartacus. But man, Batiatus wanted to kill him so bad, because this whole fucking series is like Spartacus having absolutely nothing to fucking bargain with. It doesn't matter how much power, how much value, how much authority Spartacus has or doesn't have. He is constantly like asking things of Batiatus. And Batiatus doesn't really have any room to be offended, because he killed Sura, but Spartacus doesn't know that. Spartacus keeps making demands, and Batiatus has to keep humoring him. And so the demand that Spartacus makes is, I don't want help out there. I want to fight these people on my own. So it's going to be a 6 versus 1 match. And Batiatus asks him, like, I would not, that's stupid, I'm not going to risk you. But Spartacus says, well, either I'll win and it'll be the fate of the gods, or I'll be reunited with my wife, but I will give you and your city like a huge showing of blood. I will like entertain them on the way to my death. And Batiatus says, and it's never clear to me if Batiatus is actually like religious or not, but Batiatus says, I can't imagine that the gods are done with you yet, so Spartacus, I agree to your terms, but I have one condition of my own. I will let you fight on your own, but if you win, you are fucking done with this Thracian shit. You're done with your entire past. You will commit fully to being Spartacus the Gladiator. No more backsass. No more making demands when you have nothing to bargain with. But they agree to these terms, and now it's time to fight. Spartacus is pretending to be a Roman, which he hates, and when he goes out, everyone is yelling, Spartacus, 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 and Alithia tries to worm-tongue Mercado. She says, Isn't this supposed to be a celebration of your grandpa? Because it sounds like everybody's celebrating Spartacus. But Batiatus is like, nah, don't worry about it. Everybody here right now is thinking about your grandpa. Come on, I'm Batiatus. You can trust me. It's fine. And, of course, everybody does trust Batiatus.
It's the champion of Capua. They're not going to be talking about his grandpa.
I don't know, but he really wanted to honor his grandpa. But Alithia's argument is quickly shut down.
I don't think it bothered him until Alithia said something. And then Batiatus turns around and gives her, like, the bitch look, just like the what the fuck kind of look before going forward. But, yeah, it's, that was all just her worm-tonguing him.
Yep. Alithia can worm-tongue me whenever she wants.
Yeah, absolutely. Spartacus goes to fight these people, and there's the beginning of the fight is Spartacus just standing there and letting this guy throw a spear at him, and the guy misses. It looks like you have to be real stupid to miss, but I admit I've never thrown a spear either, so maybe it's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, he's letting the gods decide, right? So at that point, he's like, all right, I'm going to give these guys one shot. If they kill me, they kill me, and if they miss, well, the gods want
terrified.
Me. Oh yeah.
Batiatus looks like, is this man really just basically committing suicide in the arena to fuck me over? But even when Spartacus begins to fight, he's getting his ass kicked by 6-on-1. It's expected that he's going to lose. And Mercado even looks over to Batiatus and is like, you do realize that the Romans are supposed to win this fight, right? And Batiatus has to kind of play it off, but you can tell Batiatus is worried. Regardless, Spartacus recovers. He kills all of the people, and there's one guy left, and the guy is down on his knees. And Spartacus, everyone's yelling to kill, and so Spartacus puts the sword to his throat, and again, Batiatus continues to look worried because he doesn't say anything, but it feels like, is he worried that Spartacus is going to spare this guy and like ruin the crowd's opinion? But you see what Spartacus is seeing, and Spartacus is envisioning this man on his knees as like episode 1 Spartacus, the Thracian with the long hair, and Thracian Spartacus is saying, no, don't do it.
Don't kill your humanity, buddy.
But Spartacus has like basically a vision of all of the events that have led him up to this, and he decides to go through it. He kills this last man. Everyone is thrilled. It's been an incredible match, and then Spartacus yells to the crowd for the first time, I am Spartacus, and about 26 episodes from now, that scene is going to make me cry.
Yep. All right, so Ronan, what'd you think of Great and Unfortunate Things?
I can't, like, normally I say, yeah, this was another banger episode. No, it's not a banger episode. This is it's a good episode. I'm not bothered by the Detective Naeus stuff like you are, because, like, sounds like from what you were saying, that completely derailed the episode for you.
Yeah.
Your complaint isn't unvalid, but it ain't that big of a deal either. No, this is a good episode, but it's definitely weaker than the last two.
Steve?
Yeah, agreed. This is kind of like a mid-season world-building episode. Like the first plot line, will Spartacus be reunited with Sura, yes or no? That's been resolved, and so this is the episode that's tasked with setting up the future plot lines, and it suffers for it, but I'm with Ronan. Like, I don't think it's egregiously bad. It's just not as good as the previous episodes.
Yeah,
I still think this is far beyond. This is still ridiculously good compared to the first 4 episodes of the series.
First 3 episodes.
Yes,
I will say, I don't think it's egregiously terrible. Like, I don't think this is the worst episode. But if I'm grading it on a scale of like Spartacus scale, right? I think this one is significantly lower for me because I feel like the writing in this episode is just bad. Again, the characters don't seem to, the dialogue that they're doing does not seem to justify what we've seen of these characters previously. They start doing stupid stuff, they start saying stupid things, and again, it's one of those things where it's like, well, I guess a bunch of stupid shit has to happen in order for us to move the plot to where we need to move it to, which to me, it's a bit of a letdown because the writing from episode 4 on, the writing in this show is so solid and the characters are so great that even something as quote-unquote minor as Naeus turning back around and name-dropping Naevia when she just told him, don't talk about this because you're putting me in danger. I don't feel like Naeus would ever intentionally put her in danger, and I think he would be smarter than to say something like that. So to me, it feels like, okay, well, we got to put Naevia in danger somehow. So we have to make a really intelligent, cool character say something stupid so that Asher can start plotting and doing his various things. So a lot of stuff like that. The Crixus stuff. To me, it's a downgrade. But it's not like a precipitous fall. It's not like Naeus being pushed off a cliff downgrade. It's just kind of like, I'm ready for the good ones to come back. So that's all. I'd give this like a 7 out of 10. It's not terrible or anything. I'm just 7 out of 10. Solid. I demand more, though, from Spartacus. I don't settle.
Demand.
Yeah, I demand more.
Making more demands.
You are no petitions to make demands. You are a fucking slave.
Batiatus is so good in this episode. John Hannah is just amazing in general, but he is. In most of the episodes, John Hannah is like the best, but he is on another level with his anger towards Spartacus in this episode.
Do you feel like, and we'll touch on this more when we get to the next seasons and stuff. Do you feel like this show loses something in seasons 2 and 3 because we lose Batiatus and he's not there? Is there any villain that you think of like in seasons 2 and 3 that are even remotely on his level in terms of just like...
on his level, no. But I do think that Asher plus Glaber plus Xena together are worthwhile replacements for Season 2. I think it's mostly Season 3 where basically all of the villains get replaced that you miss. Even though I really like Crassus. I greatly enjoy Crassus and Caesar. I don't think either of them are as good as the Seasons 1 and 2 villains.
Yeah, like Season 2 definitely, more particularly Season 3, but because as you mentioned, Season 2 at the very least you still get Asher. He goes a long way to filling in like this scheming kind of role of Batiatus, but yet that presence is definitely missed afterwards. I don't like there really is. I mean, there's no way to get around it. Like I don't know if there's not a fix for that problem, but yeah, it's definitely noticed.
Okay. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to another episode of Jupiter's CROCK. Next week, we're going to watch, I think it's called The Mark of the Brotherhood. That's episode 8. Crixus will eventually be on the mend, and he's not going to be happy that Spartacus is the champion of Capua. And how's that relationship and that dynamic going to play out? We're going to find out very, very soon. So with that, thanks for listening, everybody. I'll leave a comment. We see a lot of views happening on these Spartacus shows. Let us know what you think of the episodes. We'll be happy to address them on a future show. So with that, until next Thursday.